right. Good night, everyone. Welcome to Comics Asylum Live. I'm here with Lou and Vaughn, and we're going to be
Hello.
chopping it up, having some fun talking about some of the latest news, I guess, from New York Comic Con, which I think, Lou, you've been to, if I'm not mistaken.
No, actually, that's one of the ones. San Diego and New York are still the two I haven't visited yet, but hopefully in time.
Nice, nice, nice. And so there's been some good news, interesting news coming out of New York, with an old brand getting a pretty good push with some new stuff coming out in 2026. Marvel dropped a little bit of news as well as I guess DC proper, and a pretty huge film has dropped in. There's a comic book adaptation or tie-in to it with the new Predator Badlands flick. And then we're going to talk about some of the greatest rivalries ever in comic books. And we can extend that into movies or cartoons because it's all kind of like the same playground. And then, Lou, you've got an amazing project, which kind of inspired the theme of tonight's ep and live stream, rock, paper, scissors. And we're going to get into that. And I think you have a crowdfunding campaign. So looking forward to hearing more about that. But gentlemen, how are you guys enjoying the October weathers? Like Halloween is coming early.
Well, for me, it's kind of par for the course. I prefer fall than most of the other thing. So it was a little bit harsh this morning still, but it's just kind of getting acclimated. It's going to be the thing more so than anything moving forward. So
yeah. Well, for me, fall is hands down my favorite season.
Mhm.
I'm Canadian to my bone because I can't take excessive heat.
Right.
A bit of a side that I had a chance to move down to Florida with my family way back in the early 2000s, and I'm the only one who said no.
Oh, wow.
As I cannot take that Florida heat. The summers there are unbearable.
Mm.
Where here we have a nice balance. We got a hot summer, we got a beautiful fall, and I was born in the winter, so I came out in a parka anyway, so winter doesn't bother me. So this is all beautiful to me.
Nice. So cool. I can't lie. This is my favorite time of year for several reasons. A, because you can get, at least up here in the Northeast, you can get like 4 weather systems. You get all 4 seasons sometimes in one day.
Mhm.
Right. So it's like cold in the morning, and then it's like, kind of in the afternoon. Then it could be like blazing hot, and then it's freezing cold at night. So I like it. And then all the sports are on. You got comic book conventions. This is back in the day, just to show my vintage. You would get all of like the TV shows would drop this time of year.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
This would be like
Fall
premier
schedule.
Fall schedule, man.
Sorry, Chef Fall Circle. Not spring.
Yeah. So even though like you kind of had to deal with going to school,
Yeah.
because that sucked. It was always nice to know, like, oh, your favorite show was either returning
Mhm.
or there was a show that was coming out where you're like, oh, I want to catch that. You know?
New seasons were always top notch because you got Prime TV like from September to like mid-December before they went into their winter break.
Yeah.
But the part you brought up about school there, yeah, when we were younger it sucked, but now as a parent, it is awesome. After 2 months with my kid, right out the door, I pulled up, told her to tuck and roll, go. Now I got the house to myself. I love it.
Yeah.
That is true. When you think of it that way, it's definitely true.
A little peace and quiet for yourself during the days, right?
Oh yeah, since I work from home, so it's lovely.
Yeah, can't complain with that for sure. So, gentlemen, what are you watching? What are you reading?
Well, for me, I just finished watching Sotomoto Days. I love my anime, and it was a great. And Frieren, finished watching that. On Netflix, again, being a political junkie, I finished watching The Family, a great documentary about the power players behind everything. And book-wise, I'm just starting to get into, like, I'm a bit behind because I read a lot of classic comic books, but I need to get more into the newer stuff. But as a Batman fan, a buddy of mine told me, you got to get into the Batman Who Laughs. I've been sitting on it forever, and so I'm just starting that to get into it, and looking forward to reading through the whole story arc.
Okay,
cool,
good stuff.
And what about you, Zach?
Just finished Foundation.
How was it?
It's good.
Without being spoilery, because I love that show. I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet.
That's good. I liked it. Some interesting takes on stuff, but it was good. It was good.
How many episodes?
We'll see how they go next season. That's where the big question is.
Oh, okay.
Right. But yeah, that was good. Reading right now. What am I reading? I'm not really reading much, truth be told. I picked up a couple books. Last week I mentioned the David Finch book. I picked up the new Batman. I think it was issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get anything else right now, so I've been kind of pretty sparse on my book game really right now. So I even have like a bunch of books that I got to catch up on. Like I was reading, what is it? Ryan Otley's one, Battle Beasts. So I have all of them. I just haven't read through them. I think I read issue 2, but I still have 4 and 5 to read and everything. But I've just been caught up with work and everything and whatnot, and doing some other stuff. But yeah, that's really all I got right now.
That's cool. I'm not reading anything. I have I have a ton of books. I'm like you, Lou, that I've yet to read, including some stuff that I got through Kickstarter. But running this campaign that Vaughn and I are doing right now for Atrium, the graphic novel, it's like there's no time between prepping it, and we're going to get into this when we talk about yours. Between prepping it, between managing it, between the social media aspect of it, and then the back and forth between either your mailing list or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time in the day. It's all kind of all consuming.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It's a weird one. Trying to find that balance between it all.
Yeah, so. Most definitely. So let's head over to New York, where Toronto's Blue Jays had fun last night. Sliding over into sports, but let's catch some of the news, because some interesting things that have come out of New York in the console front. I think it's only like day 1, because I think
it's day 1 or 2. Yeah. It's only day 1. Yeah, because our cohort over there, Mr. Monk, Jeff Monk, he's down there causing a ruckus. Right?
Nice.
So.
Nice.
But there's a lot of big news coming out so far already for the show. Right,
yeah, for sure. So we've got Dynamite Entertainment. This is their Blue Sky account, and they've had a few things kind of drop, including a Thundercats announcement. So they head into 2026. With shocking revelations in Lost in Time. So they're flung into a dystopian future in Thundercats Lost in Time. And Ed Brisson says it will send shockwaves through the entire Thundercats universe. So it's going to be released as a blind bag only.
Oh, wow. Those blind bags are kind of the craze for 2025, right?
Yeah.
So going into 2026, they're going to keep that trend going, eh?
Well,
selling
I think
crazy numbers with those blind bags.
Yeah, I think anything that can just kind of pique any kind of interest in books.
Collector interest, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to go with. Lou, because I think we're around the same vintage, this one might be some fun. We've got bringing the franchise's special mix of dystopian sword and sorcery fun to fans once more. Dynamite brings Jason Aaron to Thundar the Barbarian comic. And they're also getting a new Ben 10 series.
Interesting.
Ben. I was a fan of Ben 10 and Generator X, Rex.
Yes, Generator X doesn't get enough love, personally.
Yeah. But it's Thundar the Barbarian. One of my favorite old Hanna-Barbera was Hong Kong Phooey, so I'll wait out for that one too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Hong Kong Phooey. That was always...
Yeah, we are the same vintage, indeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Most definitely. Hey, we got Scott in here. You said, "What's up, boys? How about them Jays? Yankees lose." Yeah, that was kind of fun. Have a great weekend, boys. Scott and Andrew from Chronic Con Chicago. So I think that's this weekend.
Yeah, they're also going. They took off today. I saw them post something that they're on the road. They're headed towards that,
which is kind of cool. That's Kevin Smith's convention.
That's interesting that he threw it the same weekend as
New York.
As New York, yeah.
Well, New York and Chicago are always battling. Those
Yeah.
those Northern American cities have their rivalries, so why not?
What's interesting to me with this is I thought DC had this IP.
Thundar?
Remember a couple of years ago they did that giant crossover with Thunder, with the Scooby Doo stuff and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and Johnny Quest and everything. So that's interesting that that Dynamite's doing some stuff with it. Maybe
Well,
they
I
optioned it
guess
out.
the question is Thundar Hanna-Barbera or is it something else?
They probably Hanna-Barbera. Yeah.
I always remembered it as Hanna-Barbera, but
Yeah.
I agree. I thought it was all of the same universe. So
Yeah.
whoever owns Scooby-Doo and Johnny Quest would also have
Those ones.
Thundar and those properties all in one umbrella. Now they seem to be going separate ways, or they're
It could
whoever
be.
owns the license is licensing to different companies.
It could even be the fact that DC hasn't done anything with it in a while. So it could be just that they have the option they're just optioning it to other people to do something with it. So the
Right.
last time that they did something was, I can't even remember, but I remember when Jim Lee tried to do those covers of Scooby Doo and all those characters, and he was working in his Wildstorm characters and everything.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time I saw something, and that's got to be like anywhere from 2015 to 2018, somewhere in there. But it's been light.
Actually, there's something about, I remember ICV2, they were talking about Space Ghost, that someone's supposed to be doing something with Space Ghost as well.
Space Ghost has been going pretty strong still.
Yeah.
But who is that again? Is that Dynamite as well too?
I have to check, but David Pepos, sorry, is the writer on it, and it's a banger series. He's also doing a Racer X and Speed Racer
Wow.
comic, and they look great. But Space Ghost is a really good book. It's a really, really good book.
Nostalgia's the thing. All the classics.
Absolutely. Also, more news, and this one I think is up Vaughn's alley. So it looks like Dynamite has acquired Jay Lee's Hellshock.
Oh wow!
And they're excited to announce the acquisition of all rights to one of the most legendary independent comic book creations of the '90s.
I have those books somewhere. I can't even remember what number it got to, but I think it only got to like 3 or 4.
Well,
and
then it's
I can't even remember if I read them. I have them, but I don't even remember reading them.
Interesting.
I get this one. I have to admit I'm naive on. Which one is Hellshock? I don't know that.
So Hellshock was that would have been like prime Image, when Image was like getting a little bit after they got off their ground. It probably would have been in the year 3 or 4.
Yeah.
When Hellshock came out, they're already kind of going for a bit. But yeah, Hellshock was.
Yeah, that would have been the time, because I know after they separated from Malibu and they were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But like I used to collect the Youngblood, the Deathblow, all of them. But then I kind of fell off until they started bringing in the independents, like when Walking Dead and Chew and all those came in. So there was a huge gap where I didn't even touch Image, because
that's hilarious. I haven't heard
it was kind of like, to me, a lot, except for Spawn, a lot of the superhero stuff was exactly the same.
Yeah.
To me personally. So I probably missed a whole bunch of gems and wasn't even aware of it.
That would have been an earlier gem, and Chew is a name I haven't heard in a while.
Oh yeah, it's been a minute for Chew for sure.
It's been a minute for Chew. I wonder what that creator's up to lately. But yeah, that would have been before that, way before that, because it was still in the early days of Image when they're trying to get their bearings, and I think that was just on the main banner. It wasn't underneath any imprint, so that's why Jay Lee probably retained ownership of it. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually pull it up because I'm not familiar with it. This one would have missed me just because of the timing. But we're gonna go to, and let me see. Do we get the big ad? Can I get rid of the ad here? So it's AIPT. So apparently, it's bringing it back for its 30th anniversary.
Damn.
So along with reprints, Dynamite has also acquired media rights to expand Hellshock beyond comics. Details on new editions, adaptations, and upcoming projects will be announced soon. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. I don't really know what it's about, but it does say here that the series followed Daniel, a Nephilim, which is just a fallen angel, caught in the eternal struggle between heaven and hell, exploring themes of faith, madness, and human fragility. A second volume arrived in '97, just before Lee's career skyrocketed again with Inhumans.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah,
at
his Inhumans
Marvel.
spot.
Yeah, he was at Marvel. Then he went to he did years and years of Marvel. Then once a little bit after that, after all the big guys left, he still was there drawing for a while, and then he came over to Image and did that.
Right.
What's really interesting to see is what his take on it now, because this is kind of the old Jay Lee, where it's like super scratchy and all the line work. He's not to this level of detail anymore. He's a little bit more reserved in regards to his uses of blacks, and just his level of kind of grunge, right? Because that's what he was used to be known for.
You know what? It like, to me, he always was like a new age or a modern Sienkiewicz,
Mm.
right? Just with how rough and striking. Like Teixeira had the same kind of feel,
Yeah,
to his work as well too, and so he always struck me as that kind of a creator.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I really appreciated his artwork when I discovered Jim Lee when he worked on the Uncanny X-Men,
Right.
and I liked his style. Like of the Image boys, McFarlane will always be like the pinnacle for me. But I just found the way he did his characters, like he had a very clean but very detailed style. And then later on, I found out I had Samurai Santa lying around. I think his first work that he did that cover for it, and even then you could see his distinctive style even in that old book.
Oh, wow.
So
That's you saying that's Jay Lee or is that Jim Lee?
I think you mean Jim Lee.
yeah, Jim Lee.
No,
No,
that's Jay Lee.
this is we're talking Jay Lee.
Oh my God! Okay, I got to work on my microphone.
No worries. No. He did Namor. He did Inhumans.
Oh yeah, Namor. Yeah, that's when he did the Namor series. I still have that holographic crazy cover he did. His style was insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, most definitely. Heading over to DC, we have got, I guess, since we're all getting nostalgic about everything, we're gonna go to DC Vertigo, which basically has unveiled 10 new books for 2026.
They bring back 100 bullets. Wow.
100 bullets, man. The U.S. of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got today. DC today revealed the 10 DC Vertical comic book series that will be published in 2026, beginning in February. So during its NYCC panel, DC Vertigo, we're back. So the books will be The Nice House by the Sea. We've got Bleeding Hearts.
Oh, wow. That's a new IP then.
Yep. So it's by Dennis Camp, Stipe Morian, and Matt Hollingsworth. It's a zombie named Poke discovers his heart beating again, threatening his place within a society where death reigns supreme.
Mm.
End of Life. So this is Kyle Stark, Steve Pugh, and Chris O'Halloran. A top-tier hitman returns to his Midwestern hometown to care for his dying father and confront his own mortality. Interesting.
Are these all brand new books?
Looks like it. Other than
100 bullets.
100 bullets. Yeah.
100 bullets and The Nice House by the Sea. They're on issue 7 or something like that. They debuted not too long ago. Then we have The Peril of the Brutal Dark, an Ezra Kane mystery. So this looks like some hard-boiled stuff. So The Peril of the Brutal Dark, an Ezra Kane mystery by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips, a noir detective tale that collides with magic, fascism, and a stolen artifact of unimaginable power. So the Maltese Falcon meets, I don't know, Indiana Jones. Could we go with that? So that's interesting. Then this one most people know.
This is a big one, yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. of Anger. It's great cover, by the way.
Yeah, great cover.
So it's Lono returns to America and reignites chaos, taking the nation's darkest impulses to their violent extremes. So that'll be an interesting one as well too. And then we have Black Tower, the Raven Conspiracy, and this is by Ram V and Mike Perkins. Wizard spies in the UK navigate a global Cold War over sorcery, revealing a hidden world of occult power.
It's a nice cover.
Yeah, this is a great cover. I'm liking this one. And then Necretaceous, I hope I said that right, by Tom Taylor and Derek Robertson. It's a cool cover as well, too.
Yeah, that's a very nice cover. Like that one.
Yeah, lots of details. So it looks like zombified
T-Rex.
dinosaurs. But let's see.
Yeah.
So by Tom Taylor and Derek Robertson of The Boys fame, if I'm not mistaken. Scientists attempt to time travel to solve a zombie virus, only to land 66 million years in the past among dinosaurs.
That's one way to fix something.
Yeah, that's a definite case of it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
And Fanatic by Grace Ellis and Hannah Templer.
Grace Ellis, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'll do some back checking on her when we move on.
Mm-hmm.
So, a woman's obsession with a comic book spirals into a deadly parasocial fixation on its creator. So it's kind of like The Fan, I guess.
Fan meets Misery.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh, that's who it is. Grace Ellis from Lumberjanes.
Ah, of course. Yeah. I can see this just on the pitches.
Yeah.
This one going to film or series pretty quickly.
Yeah, a lot of these I can see going.
Oh, definitely. I think that's kind of like
that could be the play.
Angle.
Yeah, that could be the play for sure.
Right. Which makes sense because you've already got Warner Brothers there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have The Crying Doll, Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And this is a Jekyll and Hyde thriller about just how far a young woman would go to protect her best friend, who may or may not be a killer. And I think the last one, is this the last one? Yeah, so A Walking Shadow. And this is by Simon Spurrier and Aaron Campbell. 8 strangers wake up chained to a boat in the woods. No memory, no escape, no explanation.
Interesting concept.
Yeah, great cover too.
Great cover, yeah.
So is this like I haven't heard the term, the company of Vertigo or that imprint in a very long time. I remember reading the books in the 90s with Sandman, Book of Magic, and whatnot. And those were great books, like just very deep stories. Is this, but I have not heard the name Vertigo. And is this like like they're just relaunching it, or has it been around this whole time?
Like it's a relaunch.
It's a relaunch, but they've done a couple incarnations, and it's kind of like they launch it for a while, then it filters out a little bit, and then they try to revive it. It's probably been around 5 to 6 plus years, because they used to have Vertigo Black, I think it was.
Yes.
And that was there for a bit, and then that kind of went to the wayside. I think around the time when Dida was leaving, that's when that kind of started petering out, and then they kind of killed that. Not so much killed it, but they kind of quietly walked that line away.
Yes.
But it's always been in the background, and there was talks before about them repurposing it / maybe selling it or doing something with it. But just hasn't. I wouldn't be surprised that next year, if they keep on going, like you'll see a Constantine book come up based on the fact that they're trying to do Constantine 2 and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like they're really kind of pushing some of the movie angles, and with James Gunn over there, I could see some of that being some of the plays.
Right? It seems like DC is really going through a resurgence now.
It definitely,
from what James Gunn is doing, which I'm a fan, and even before I started watching Superman, I knew I already had an idea of where he was going with it, and I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And now even seeing what everyone's telling me about the Absolute Universe, that's the next one. Was like, no, you got to get into the Absolute Universe and what they're doing with that. And so it doesn't surprise me that they're now they're going with Vertigo, and they're now saying, okay, well, we got that new fire underneath us now. We're finally the hot kid again.
The hot kid again, yeah. It's like the two extremes. Like they're the hot kid, and Marvel's. I don't know if they're struggling, but they're definitely not. Doing.
I think Marvel's still good, but I think there's a bit of fatigue that's just natural to happen. Marvel's been king for the last 15, 20 years now. So, and they're one of their last iteration of their TV shows and films just were not what people expect. After Endgame, the expectations were so high that everything they came out with afterwards is kind of faltered, and the Sony movies didn't help the cause either. So I think that gave DC time to Let's take our time. Let's figure out where we're going, and now start fresh, and do what Marvel did. Take our time, make it coherent, and move forward.
Mhm.
I agree with you, and I also think too that because I always it's kind of interesting. I don't think in my recent memory that Marvel and DC have been punching in the same weight class at the same time
Yeah,
for a long time, right? So either DC's really hot and Marvel falls off,
Mhm.
or vice versa. But I also think what happens is that you've got Marvel is so film dominated right now
yeah,
that they're almost more so known for their movies than they are for their books.
yeah,
And so the heat always goes to, well, Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom, whatever. Whereas DC's in that spot where like their films aren't as I don't know, monolithic when it comes to like grabbing news and sucking
Mhm.
all the oxygen out of the room. So that what you get is you get a little bit more play on the comic book side. And they're just also, I think, just being a little bit more innovative and adventurous because that absolute stuff
Mhm.
was fantastic, still is great. I know Marvel had their move into their
Ultimate Universe.
ultimate universe as well too, but it just didn't seem that that momentum is carrying forward as far and as hard
Yeah.
yeah,
as DC's you know just call it Elseworlds for
Yeah.
lack of
yeah,
a better word.
The Ultimate stuff has kind of fizzled out pretty fast for what it was, to the point where they're like, okay, we're only going to do 20 something of these and we're going to kill it at the end of this year, kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Versus the DC seemed like it has some pretty good legs for a little bit longer. However, because right, you think about it, it's been almost a year, and they're going into the 12th reprint of that Absolute Batman #1. They're finally going to do the Absolute Justice League now, right? So that'll carry them for a little while longer. So I can see this Absolute thing running for at least another year and a half, 2 years, before they say that they're going to switch it up or reset things or do whatever they want to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's good though. That's a good kind of momentum, because I think a lot of these big books, when they do these big relaunches, they have like a 3 to 4 year time life on them before people start kind of being like, okay, the gimmick is kind of wearing off now, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
But
But if you're telling good stories as well too, it's harder to lose.
isn't this the cycle that they kind of go through? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the '80s, Marvel did Secret Wars, something that was innovative and huge for its time as a limited series.
Mhm.
Then DC came in, did Crisis, and then that became huge on its own. So now you got Marvel with the Ultimate Universe, and then DC's like, okay, here's our idea. We're going to come out with the Absolute Universe.
Mhm.
So one has their success, and then the other one comes along and does their own unique thing, but still kind of following a formula as well. So
A lot.
as you mentioned, Vaughn, that the Ultimates had their success at the time, and now it's fizzling out. And now here comes DC now with the Absolute Universe,
Mhm.
and now it's their time. So as you mentioned, it's either one or the other
Yeah,
when it comes to these things.
like I could truly say that I've never been a big DC head, and it might be a situation where, I don't know, I can't speak to this 100%, but I feel like as you grow older, you'll find certain things resonate more to you. I find that's more because I remember as a kid, all the DC heads were all the older guys in the comic shop, and they really loved DC for what it was when their storytelling and stuff. All the younger kids was always Marvel. And as
Yeah,
I've gotten older, some of that has swayed as well too. To me, I find at least they're telling a little bit more intricate stories um, on the long form side. But I do know that, speaking to what you're saying, yeah, there's never two of them that are like blazing hot at the same time, or at one point in time when they get crushed by a third party vendor, right?
Right.
So you look, when Image was hot, both of them were dead.
yeah,
When Image started fizzling out, Marvel was getting its feet back underneath it, and DC was struggling as well too.
Mhm.
And then now that DC's, I think right now I could say DC is the hot kid or the hot girl, right? And Marvel is still kind of doing some of the same formulas. And then you'll see a lot of the same stuff is everybody will do a reset, everybody will do the big battle and all that kind of stuff between the heroes and everything every couple of years, and then they just stagger and offset it, right? It's just a different iteration of it, right?
yeah.
So there's not many for like as much as you think you read a lot of comics and there's a lot of possibilities. There's not many big formulas that are not tried and tested, so everybody rehashes it. Like I was kind of when they did 2 Civil Wars, I was like, come on, Civil War 2. I was like,
So
all right,
again,
like come on, right? But it's always that type of stuff. Like how many times are going to reset the universe? Like Marvel's done it like umpteen times in the last 30 years. But also, you know, we're a little bit different in the sense that we're generational. We've gone through probably 3 or 4 generations of comics worth of content, right?
dude,
Yeah.
we're almost like the elders. We've seen Galactus born 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I talk to people, like when I go to a local comic book store and we're talking, I'm also a comic book fan that I like when Peacemaker first came in, I already have the Carlton books.
Mhm.
So I got Judo Master. Like I love the classics. I just love the simplicity. Like I actually read more older comic books just to equate myself with the storytelling from back then. So a lot of 60s and 70s books. Hell, I still read Harvey comics just for the fun of it. You know, it's there's just so much variety. I think a lot of people just get caught into the Marvel and DC spheres and the rebootings. And as you brought up, I didn't read the new Secret Wars. I never touched it. You know, I'm from the original Secret Wars and Secret Wars 2 with the whole Beyonder thing and everything. So it's I know there's a lot to get caught up on, but it's interesting hearing what is hot and what is getting everyone's attention at the time.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of, let's see what else has been dropping in New York. Speaking of Gotham, but on the Marvel side, there is a new Spider-Man Venom crossover coming out in February, and it's Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral. So it was revealed today at NYCC. It's Spider-Man Venom and Carnage are caught in a death spiral, an upcoming crossover event from Joe Kelly, Al Ewing, Charles Soule, Ed McGuinness, Jesus Saez, and Carlos Gomez. And it kicks off this February. So just revealed at the Marvel Comics Spider-Man and His Venomous Friends panel at New York Comic Con. Death Spiral, new crossover saga spinning out of Amazing Spider-Man, Venom, and Eddie Brock Carnage, kicks off this February. The event begins in Amazing Spider-Man Venom, Death Spiral #1, a special one-shot, and continues in issues of Amazing Spider-Man and Venom through April. So it's going to basically take up a chunk of the late winter and spring. So we quickly go here. Kicking off the event with a one-shot that will bring any new reader up to speed. Joe Kelly, Al Ewing, and Charles Soule and artist Jesus Saez do their greatest work from Marvel yet. A new superpowered killer is on the loose, and they're coming for Spidey, Venom, and anyone in between. But what terrible secret has Carnage learned? And what does it have to do with Spider-Man? Don't miss out on the next chapters of this Spiders and Symbiotes saga in Amazing Spider-Man 23 to 27 and Venom 255 to 257. And we've got this little Ed McGuinness image here. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, I love his art.
Yeah. It was funny because like I loved his stuff, and it wasn't until Mr. Majestic. He did a Mr. Majestic.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy's amazing. But I wasn't quite sure who he was. Okay, hold on a second. We just put this in. Comics Embrace. Hey, fellas, stumbled upon the channel by chance. Enjoying the conversations. You got my subs. Good stuff. Comics Embraced. Welcome to Comics Asylum. We really appreciate you joining us. And, please come back for some more. And we really appreciate your interest in us.
Did we lose Vaughn?
No, he's there.
No, I'm here.
No, okay.
I'm here.
He's there. He just had to,
Is that
had
Ed
to talk.
McGuinness?
That's Ed McGuinness, your boy.
Yeah.
I don't know my boy, but it's funny how much he's changed, eh?
He's become more, because like I'm just talking anatomy wise, he's become more streamlined. He used to do like these really almost
bulky
type characters, or that's how he'd render it. And he's really leaned out since he's been doing a lot more Spider-Man work.
Yeah, he's very leaned out. You can still see it in some of his heads. He still likes the big heads and the thick heads.
Well, that's the beauty of art. You know, when you watch an artist that you appreciate, see their style grow and mature.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the look of it. I like the look, and even I like his cleanliness. I've always liked his cleanliness
He's super
and
clean.
how he does his stuff. Like I watched something a while ago, but I watched him doing some pencils of his stuff, and then I watched. I think it was I don't know if it was Richard Friend or something like that, inking him, and it's just like
Hmm.
it's actually pretty nice.
This
Interesting.
is this is one of the things I've always loved about comic books from when I first got into this in the 80s. I just love the versatility of covers, the beauty of covers.
Yeah.
It's unlimited what can be done. There's like I know there's a lot of homages and whatnot out there, but
Yeah,
just I'm always blown away by just the imagination that people put into different covers. And like there's always something new and incredible that can be done. I just absolutely love this about this industry.
hmm
Oh yeah. And when you think of like some of your earliest memories of great comic books, it was a banger cover,
Yeah,
right?
you can judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. You can quite a bit for sure. This isn't part of any of the news that dropped today, but this was kind of cool because we were talking about last week. One of the Conan pieces, one of the original Conan pieces, sold, or maybe 2 weeks ago, for an enormous amount of money.
Right.
And with Jim Zub working on Savage Sword of Conan, um, we have had almost like a Conan renaissance.
Oh,
And
definitely.
what Titan Comics is doing is they're taking the Savage Sword of Conan and they're going to do a reforged book. And so in the reforged book, you're going to get classic stories, but this time in color. So it's kind of like what Walking Dead was doing, what Skybound was doing with Walking Dead.
Skybound, yeah, with the new Walking Dead, so they're redoing all the books in colors. Yeah.
Yeah. So it says here, for Reforge revitalizes the legendary black and white magazine with vivid, all new color restorations, bringing all new depth and intensity to Conan's celebrated adventures.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is an old Barry. I think this is Barry Smith. Yeah, this is Barry Windsor Smith's
Going on, yeah.
Conan from back in the day.
Oh yeah,
They didn't show any of the John Buscema,
Oh wow. They're
but
holding
they
on to
do
that,
have a
yeah?
they do have a cover, and the cover is chef's kiss. So this new series kicks off with two of Conan's most iconic stories: The Tower of the Elephant, featuring art from the legendary John Buscema and Alfredo Alcala, and The Frost Giant's Daughter from the incomparable Barry Windsor Smith, now recolored to fully capture the brutal majesty of Robert E. Howard's Hyborian age.
Interesting that they're kind of going more with the flat style of the recoloring
That's
than
it. You know what? I didn't even think about that, but that's an interesting observation.
it
I
could be. It could be a constraint of based on what they have to work with. So, but that's interesting to me. Like the covers are full digital. You can see that in the colors, the
mhm.
covers, right? But
to see
And
them
this,
color Barry Windsor Smith's like I love his run on Daredevil,
mm,
and like I think his Daredevil 316 is one of my favorite covers he's ever done. But even the way with his style, it'll be interesting how that comes out.
I wonder, are they doing it to kind of capture the time? That so it
the
doesn't seem like
nostalgia,
it's yeah, that so it doesn't seem like it's like
too out of
completely
place. Yeah,
out of place.
yeah.
Mm.
It might be that as well too. Definitely could be that, and that would probably be more a likely case. What's
God.
interesting to me as well too is to refresh my memory. Is Titan the ones that used to do the newsprint books?
Oh no, they were oh Alterna.
Alterna, that's what I'm getting confused with. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but Titan does like Doctor Who,
Yeah,
and
Doctor Who and all that
they're
kind
doing
of stuff.
this
Yeah,
stuff.
they've always been
Yeah,
a pretty
Judge.
key heavy brand from what I remember.
Yeah, and 2008's Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, and so this second cover is by Boris Vallejo, and then they also have other covers. So they have five covers for this one, and we've got some looks at some more interiors. Let's see if I can
I think those are the
expand.
ones that was up from at the beginning.
There we go.
Yeah.
So just to show what's going on here. So there's that double page spread to enter in. So it looks good. It may also be a thing of just like time, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like if they go with the flats, they can get it kind of done quicker, and
Get more out.
it helps their return on investment, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many. And the thing too is like Conan was done. There was a lot of books, so I could only imagine, depending on how much they're looking to reprint, right?
Oh, for sure.
It might be, yeah, like you say, it might be the more cost-effective solution. Just do it to flats and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, some good news. If anything else pops in on my any of my feeds before we leave, I'll make sure that it comes up. But we're going to talk about rivalries. And Lou, this is going to be right up your alley because Paper Rock Siggers and Stuff, which is your creation that you're doing with our friend Hugh Rookwood, it's all about rivalries and clashes. So I'm going to ask you guys to think of some of your greatest rivalries in all of comics. And I actually threw this onto Reddit as well, too, onto our Reddit post. And I got some interesting answers.
Yeah. On Reddit?
On Reddit. And I got some answers that we'll show some of them. It was like, I didn't even think of that, or and some stuff that I hadn't read. But I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Interesting. So let's go with you, Lou, since you're our guest. What are some of your favorite rivalries?
Okay, I will not do Batman and Joker because I know everyone will go to that path. But I'm gonna go in a bit of weirder path here.
Yeah, go weird, man.
Number one, I'm gonna do Betty and Veronica.
Oh my God. Okay, not to burst your bubble, that was one of the ones that was on our Reddit.
I read it all. I love comic books, all publishers. So Betty and Veronica, that I always found it weird, even when my sister used to read those books, and this weird looking red-headed boy, they're all fighting over him, and sometimes they're allies, sometimes they're enemies. And Reggie's an afterthought. So I when you brought this up to me, it's like that actually popped into my head first. Betty and Veronica. Then on top of that, then you were saying beyond comic books. So this actually wasn't a comic book, so also cartoon. And I thought Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Oh,
and that's another classic one. And I was a Wile E. Coyote fan. I want him to catch that damn bird.
You know why? You know why? Because that damn bird defies all science laws, physics, and gravity. Right? Why Coyote Esquire?
He rewrites physics.
Oh yeah, totally.
Actually, kind of an aside, like I know they were going to do Wile E. Coyote versus Acme live action animated movie, and then they dropped it for a write-off. And I was like, but I think they're going to sell it to someone else to come out with it.
Yeah.
And I was hyped up for that. I would love to see Wile E. Coyote in court taking on Acme for all his missed chances getting the Roadrunner.
That's a pretty valid lawsuit.
But if I'm going to choose Marvel and DC, so my top for DC, I love Eobard Thawne. I like Reverse Flash.
Got it.
I've got into so many nerdy arguments with people that Flash is hands down the most powerful character in DC. I'll die on that hill. Screw Superman. Flash is the most powerful. And I always found it fascinating with Eobard and his absolute obsession with Flash and all the horrific things. And I still one of my favorite DC animated movies of all time is Flashpoint Paradox.
Right.
And so I've always liked that back and forth between them, and even how many times Reverse Flash, Eobard proves that Flash in what he does makes him more of a villain than what Eobard is. Because Flash is screwed with the timeline far worse than Reverse Flash has. And if I look at the Marvel side, I've always respected the relationship between Xavier and Magneto. They created the school together, they created Cerebro, they did all this, but they have different ideology. And between the Brotherhood of the Mutants and the X-Men, these two are really playing chess against each other because they are still friends. They still have a respect. They're frenemies. And I've always looked at that dichotomy with them, that they do respect each other. They just have different views on how they want to get to the same goal. And they have these chess pieces that they use, but they themselves are insanely powerful. but they don't use that power against each other, except for that one time where they became Onslaught, and that just was a whole other mess in its own right. But yeah, that's the ones I'll touch on for now.
Okay, those are pretty good. What about you? Who do you got?
All right, Steve, you go.
Well, I'm gonna go to the list. I'm just gonna go to the.
You go to your Reddit list.
I'm gonna because I put it down on Reddit. And these are in no particular order. These are one that just came to mind, right? So let me see here. I did Hal Jordan
versus Sinestro. Yeah.
Daredevil versus Kingpin. Barry Allen versus Reverse Flash. Teen Titans versus Deathstroke. Rick Grimes versus Negan. Superman versus Lex Luthor. Optimus Prime versus Megatron. Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. I could have put Dr. Octopus there.
Yeah, I think Dr. Octopus would be more, but yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was just like he killed Gwen. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You get elevated. Batman versus Joker. Captain America versus the Red Skull. And here were some of the responses. So there was Betty and Veronica from Bloody Zombies, number 1. That was a great answer. Teeny Weenie 24 said Wolverine and Sabretooth, Reed Richards and Dr. Doom.
That's a good one.
Yep. Silent R had a great list. So Spider-Man versus Venom, Scud versus Jeff, Daredevil versus Bullseye, Cyclops versus Wolverine, especially when Jean Grey's involved.
Yeah.
Superman versus Lobo, Professor X versus Magneto, Thor versus Loki, Raphael versus Leonardo, Hal Jordan versus Sinestro, Captain America versus Red Skull, Batman versus the Riddler, Horatio Hellpop versus Judah Maccabee. And that one I had to look up because I had no idea who those characters were. They're from Nexus.
From what?
Nexus. You remember the comic book Nexus?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, from the 80s.
Yeah. And for those who are not quite sure, I will pop them up so we can at least get a Nexus, not that one comic. Because I was like, I don't remember Nexus at all. So let me pop them up. Because that was a book where it's like almost like Grendel, where like you keep seeing it, but you're not
when you're young and saw it all over
sure, right? And there's Nexus. So this was the book Dark Horse from back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Dark Horse.
No, it was published by someone else even before that.
Before that, yeah.
Way before that.
Capital Comics, First Comics, Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah.
And I think is this a Steve Rude book?
They just did the omnibus on Kickstarter a couple months ago, I thought.
So, yeah, Mike Barron and Steve Rude.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, they just did a Kickstarter omnibus, I think, on it just a little while ago. And that's sold pretty crazy.
I remember picking up his first appearance. I only remember it because I also got Reed Fleming, the world's toughest milkman, at the same time. Like, I love those independents.
I love that title.
Yeah.
Getting back to our rivalries list, though.
Oh, I want to throw in Butcher versus Homelander.
Oh, for sure.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
I'll go a little bit off kilter. I don't know if it was already said, but Spy versus Spy.
Oh my God! Absolutely,
that is classic.
That's a classic one. That's the one. That's one of the all-time best rivalries of all time. Spy versus Spy, man.
No, that's probably the granddaddy of rivalries. Like,
I'll throw another weird one. Actually, not weird, but I'll go Tom versus Tweety.
No, you mean Sylvester.
Sylvester and Tweety, or Tom and Jerry, or Sylvester and Tweety.
Yeah. And if we're gonna go down like Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, or Disney and stuff like that, then the Sheepdog and Wile and the Coyote, because apparently it's not Wile E. Coyote.
It's not Wile E. Yeah, it's just a Coyote.
Who's the enemy of Uncle Scrooge again? The other Scottish guy. Uncle Scrooge had an arch nemesis.
Yeah, no, not sure.
Okay. While we're looking at that, I'm gonna go look that up. They had Kree versus the Skrulls as another one.
Oh,
so
nice.
You're talking Scrooge McDuck, right?
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck. He had an arch nemesis.
I'd even say Garfield versus Tom as well too. Was it Garfield or Tom or John? It was Garfield and John. They're kind of enemies.
Garfield and who? Oh, and John?
Yeah.
John Arbuckle? Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of always at each other.
Over that lasagna. The fight over lasagna.
For sure. John D. Rockerduck, who's supposed to be like, I guess, the Rockefeller.
Oh, wow.
So he apparently arch nemesis is Glomgold.
Glomgold, there it is. Yep, Glomgold.
The Beagle Boys, Magica Dispel,
I'm the
and
Beagle
John
Boys.
D. Rockerduck.
Yep.
Beagle Boys. Beagle Boys are all trying to steal his stuff.
I love DuckTales. It just hit me now, and it's like, yeah, the Beagle Boys and Glomgold. He was always, but especially the Beagle Boys, they're always trying to get into his money bin.
Yeah.
Always.
Those poor guys.
Too good.
They were like the Stooges all over again.
Pretty much. And then this one, Turtles and Splinter versus Shredder. Invincible versus Thrag. Hellboy versus Grigori. Judge Dredd versus Judge Death. Spawn versus Annihilator. And then I guess if you want to get into it, you could also do like G.I. Joe versus Cobra.
That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, no, that's a pretty good list.
It's a pretty good list. And we're not even getting to like manga and anime too much, right?
Yeah. Not even close, yeah.
Oh, we could go 80s, like pretty much every cartoon. So like Silverhawks versus Monstar, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We could go all out.
Definitely, because like He-Man and Skeletor aren't on this.
Yeah.
Right? Like no one named that.
No, it's interesting that nobody named that.
Okay, She-Ra and Hordak. Let's go.
There you go. We could keep going. You know.
Hordak.
Okay. Can I throw a wrench in this?
Absolutely.
Who do you think is the lamest of the matchups?
Of the matchups?
Yeah.
That we mentioned, or just period?
No, just like where you have great rivalries. Which one you think is the lame rivalries?
Daredevil and Stiltman.
I was gonna say Daredevil and the Owl.
Yeah. Owl's kind of like a penguin ripoff, yeah.
Or like even Spider-Man when he had the Jackal, I think, was some short-lived villain that with the Clone Saga, and then they just got rid of him and forgot about him completely.
He'll show up again.
I will say, like I get it, like I understand where Miles Warren the Jackal fits in Spidey lore. He he irritated me. I never liked him as a villain. Yeah, just whatever. But I'm trying to think of another lame one. I'm sure. Okay, how about this one? As an X-Men fan, Arcade.
Yes, and with his arcades and all that stuff.
Arcade was all weird, yeah. But he was part of Mojoverse, right? Was
he part of the Mojoverse?
He was outside the Mojoverse. Yeah.
He was outside of it, but it would make sense if he was.
Yeah. He was like the equivalent of the Toy Man in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so who's
Toy Man and Superman? That's a good one. Like the fact that Toy Man was actually a worthy villain to Superman. Was always weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was like the same thing with like Batman and who's the puppet guy?
Oh no! Please don't say the ventriloquist. Please, no. Don't go there, please.
Right?
No, Vaughn, come on, please, man. We're getting along so well, man. Don't bring in the ventriloquist, please.
How can you say that somebody like a henchman in the DC universe?
I love Scarface. I love the relationship between Arnold, Wesker, and Scarface, and I got into the ventriloquist because of the animated series.
Yeah.
And I love that episode where it's not about Scarface being deadly. It's just how broken
of a character
Arnold of a character is, and Batman trying to get to the root of that. That's why I've always liked Batman. It's not about him. I personally think Batman's he's valuable for the Justice League. He's horrible as a superhero, but I love his villains. His villains are complex. I'll go there, and I'm a Batman fan. No. But for the Justice League, he's very valuable. Very valuable. For Gotham, he's a horrible superhero.
Yeah.
People can attack me. Come at me. I'm fine with that. But I love the villains that he has because they are deep. It's not just I want to take over the world and all that. Like many of them have emotional arcs that are their own stories. From Clayface to Man-Bat to the Riddler, they're deep characters.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is Batman the Seinfeld of his own universe? And when you think about it, everyone else is more interesting. Everyone else is more interesting in Seinfeld than other than the Seinfeld. Batman's great. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I love Batman. But like Spider-Man, what makes Batman, like you said, are his villains.
His villains.
Yeah.
I will agree to that I said, Batman is a great character, and he represents, like I said, the way I look at him in the Justice League and the importance, and even Amanda Waller sees the importance, especially when in Batman Beyond, and the part where she explains why Batman was so bloody important. But just his rogues gallery, and when you really take the time, this is what I said, with the ventriloquist, he seems like a lame villain, but when you dig deeper, he's actually very interesting about like why, like I don't even talk about the future, like the other versions of ventriloquist. I know with the Mad Hatter, there's many iterations, but even with the originals, why they became villains in the first place, that's those backstories are interesting. So, like there's a character that I'm surprised DC doesn't even touch anymore is Nocturna.
Right.
One of Batman's Dream Dimension villains. She was a great character, very deep. But there's so many rogues in Batman's universe, they just kind of forgot about her.
Yeah, because it's a cycle. You have like cycles of villains, right? And he runs through a pretty thing. But bringing some of the older ones becomes a little bit harder every single time to bring them back. And you got a relevant storyline to work them into, right? Yeah. Like, there's Ma Parker that was big in the 80s. They've used Falcone and Carmine and all the rest of like the gangsters over and over again. Yeah. And here you got this great older character, older grandma gangster. But like I said, there's just like you got to cycle them through, and it's about who's more popular, right? Yeah. So it'll always be Joker, Riddler, Clayface, Bane. Those are the ones who get the most attention. Yeah. A lot of those the gangster guys, they become secondary story plot points. Yeah. Story where you could work it in as a means to an end to get to another story beat, right? Yeah. Story beat. They're not really like back in the day. A lot of those characters would be central characters, not so much anymore. Yeah. They're secondary story beats for the bigger, crazy bad, right? They're just kind of, let's introduce the story with this, play it off, and then you find out really it was something else that was driving this to get to this, right? Yeah. A lot of that stuff. And that's where a lot of the mainstream, like street level villains come into play these days, right?
Yeah, but what I do like is that with the one thing we were talking about with the different Marvel and DC's always been king of animation. And what I love, one of my favorite cartoons is the Harley Quinn series. Yes, I love it all. And what I like is that they dug deep into the barrel of other characters and they brought them out, and they took Kite Man, a complete joke, even as a villain, and now he's one of the most beloved rogues now, even getting his own cartoon series.
Kite Man in that show he's peak. Yeah. He's absolutely peak. But when you think about it, I think the brilliance of what they're doing with DC right now is they're fully, and I think this is maybe where James Gunn might actually be like just perfect for them. They are embracing the absurdity of a lot of their characters.
Yes.
Right? So like when you have like a Kite Man, you've got that entire Peacemaker show.
Vigilante as a character before, like I remember
Vigilante was Punisher-esque, man. Like he first dropped.
Yeah, he first dropped. It was Punisher.
And don't mess with Chase because he'd take you out. Like he was a serious character. Now he's an absolute like almost like a punchline, but he's hilarious. Yeah. Right? And it just works within the way that show is constructed, and the fact that you're almost dealing with like Peacemaker is almost like Homer Simpson as a superhero. Yeah. Right? He's like, he thinks he knows what's going on, but he's kind of clueless. Yeah. And he stumbles through to the end of whatever his task or goal is.
Plot is, yeah.
But it's almost like he never learns anything.
Well, he's oblivious, right?
He's absolutely oblivious. Yeah. Right?
I think bringing in James Gunn, and I talked to a friend about this, I think was one of the most brilliant moves DC made. A lot of people forgot that as popular as the Guardians of the Galaxy are now, they were not even D-class heroes back in the day.
Oh yeah,
no one cared.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah, no, and not even the Guardians of the Galaxy that we see from the MCU. The original Guardians, no one cared about. Absolutely nobody. And Groot. I remember telling a friend the first appearance of Groot, he spoke perfect English. You know, came from Planet X. I think Stanley talked about how he hated the character because it was during that phase where he was just making all these stupid monster characters before the Fantastic Four came into the picture. And Rocket Raccoon, again, I thought it was a corny, stupid character from the 80s. And then somehow he comes along and makes them beloved and popular. Like now, all of a sudden, Star-Lord is top of conversations for the longest time when every comic book nerd I knew never even talked about Star-Lord, even acknowledged his existence. And now he's like, what he's done with Peacemaker, what he's done with the Creature Commandos. And it's like his style works with the absurd because DC has a lot of weird, crazy superheroes and villains. So he's the perfect guy to work with those kind of characters.
And isn't he also, though, because we got to give the flowers to the late great Dwayne McDuffie, because when you look at Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, they took like The Question, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those kind of characters who might have been the C list or D list.
Yeah.
Cool aesthetically, like the Demon, right?
Yeah.
When they're in the cartoon, it's like, man, I want more episodes with these characters. And so you embrace how weird they are, but then you take them absolutely seriously. And it's almost like the animation kind of gave them license for you to embrace how cool these characters are. Because you always think live action, it's like, well, this wouldn't work. Like for years, you couldn't even get Wolverine in a yellow suit. Right? Because that wouldn't play on live action. But when it's animated, it's like, no, that's what they are.
Yeah, that's
it's just in comic books. Just deal with it, kind of thing.
Not totally. True. It's going to be interesting to see what the lifespan of this this run of the DC, like, will they have a Marvel moment where they're on a high for 10 years, and then, you know what I mean?
I think that's the cycle. I think this is how it goes. You go through a run where, like, we went through the same thing with X-Men. We went through the same thing with Spider-Man. You know, as you said, it gets tied to movies. So DC's doing the same thing as what Marvel did. It becomes the movie universe, and everything gets tied to that. And that goes for a peak, keeps on going, and then eventually either the stories or people just get tired of it and it goes down again. And the other one sees their opportunity and starts going up. And so I think, it's probably going to be another 10-year cycle. Gunn is going to do what he's doing. Everyone's looking forward to what he's going to do with Batman, what he's going to do with Wonder Woman, leading up to a new Justice League. What's that?
I said, I hope he doesn't direct it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, he can't do everything.
No.
Well, so, you know, Feige was smart enough to give people leeway to do, like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. So hopefully Gunn will follow the same example because he can't do it all, or nothing will get made.
Yeah. I hope, yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. That's the fun of it.
Yeah, I really didn't even really like the idea of him even directing Superman, truth be told.
You weren't a fan of it?
The more I watch it, I'm not sold on the Superman that was portrayed. It's kind of like, I see what some of the other people's problems with it. I don't mind it as a movie. I feel the Superman character himself was a little bit light in character development, and like, this is supposed to be the strongest man in the universe, and he was just getting beaten up and he's bumbling everywhere a little bit. Like, even more so, like, I get they're kind of parodying some of the Christopher Reeve stuff, but this was even worse. Like,
that was the main critique I heard from people before I watched it with my wife, and it's like the guy's getting his ass handed to him constantly. But when I watched it, the way I looked at it is that, and they tried to explain it in the fast in position at the beginning, that this is just like 2 or 3 years after he starts actually being Superman. I think it's after the second movie of the original, and he's still new to this. So, like with any character, I guess they didn't want to Mary Sue him that he's just already like so powerful and he knows his powers. Like he got beat up by him, a clone of himself, and he doesn't even understand that it's him beating up himself. Like there are places where they could have I guess, explained or go deeper into things, and I do
A
agree
lot of
with
James
that.
Bondisms as well too, in it. But maybe that's just some of my preferences.
Yeah.
Not a big-
Oh no, definitely. Like there's so many ways that even for me, like I'm not a big Superman fan. I never have been. But I guess with every movie, there's things you can look at and you're like, okay,
yeah,
this is decent. Other things like,
yeah.
it's a stretch.
Yeah.
A lot on crypto, but I think they did that because
The
dogs
dog
are
stuff
cute.
is- yeah. I guess he's trying to tie a lot of things in, so I get
Yeah.
it, but I'll give it a pass. I can't say I was in love with it.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
I love the cast. I think it looks great. I'm not a big fan of how they portrayed Lex.
Mm.
He, unless they're both like in year one of their
Yeah.
heroism and villainy.
Yeah.
And Nicholas Hoult is such a good actor.
He's great actor,
He's such a good actor.
but they pushed it up to 10. There was no. I don't feel there was much nuance in some of it.
Yeah, and like again, like the casting was great even in the Snyder first. Like, but I was never like crazy about Eisenberg as Lex.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
Right?
Just no.
And it's because it just doesn't strike me as like, it's really weird because that Lex Luthor reminds me of the boy genius in Alien Earth. Like that kind of, can we say it? Almost like Zuckerberg archetype adjacent type genius.
Yeah.
But it's so young. And I'm like, I just like Lex to me is
a little more refined.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was saying with why I like Batman villains more than like far more than Superman villain. Like that Lex Luthor was very single-minded to the point he was ready to destroy the Earth just to punish Superman. Where like my favorite version of Lex Luthor is in the DCU, like the DC animated universe. Sorry,
absolutely. Clancy
and
Brown?
that Luthor was maniacal but very smart, and he knew when to walk away. Like, okay, this time I'll walk away from this. Or this one was just single-mindedly, I'm just going to destroy everything. And I can't help but compare him to Nolan's Joker, where that was a deep character who was playing with the superhero, but playing in a way that he was having fun with it. And he also knew when to concede. So I think with this Superman, yeah, I agree with you with Luthor. He was just very, very one-dimensional. And I think how it should have ended, one of my favorite YouTube channels, they made fun of the fact that there were multiple times he could have beaten Superman easily with his level of genius. But he was so fixated that he lost his own genius just to defeat him.
Yeah, and I think like when you have a character like Joker, or where it's almost like the cruelty is the point. You get their actions, right? But if you have someone like Doom, or you've got someone like Luthor, they want to rule something afterwards. They want power, but they don't want to be, lording over rubble.
Yeah.
So they want to win with still having something left. They don't want annihilation. And so it doesn't make any sense to me for him to be so unhinged, because he's like that whole Metropolis doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But
and to go a little bit backwards to our talking point about great rivalries, one that just came to my mind talking about the true arc of a maniacal villain who wants everything. Going back to the animated universe, I've always liked in Young Justice and Justice League Vandal Savage. I've always liked Vandal Savage as a villain, and him versus the whole Justice League.
Yes.
Just and in the end, he still won out.
Oh yeah.
But he won out for the benefit of the planet.
Yeah.
So even as a villain, he's still kind of an anti-hero at the same time.
Yeah, those are always great. And speaking of rivals,
before you guys get into that, I'm going to head out.
No worries, man.
Thanks again for a great night.
Absolutely.
Probably do this next week again. So
yeah, absolutely. You take care of yourself.
It was great talking with you.
Stay warm this week, guys.
Take care.
So speaking of rivals, let's get the skinny with a 411 on paper, rock, scissors, and stuff. What can you tell us? There
I
we
just have it right here.
There we go. Lue comes prepared, everyone.
Oh yeah, I always come prepared. Okay, so basically, with the amazing artwork of Hugh Rookwood, and I'm sure that you've had him on your show, and that people know about his incredible artwork. He's done work for IDW, done covers for IDW, Aftershock, Image, Archie, and so this is just some samples of his work. And the basic idea of the story that I came up with is the hand game rock paper scissors, the world's best known game. I don't care if you're in Kenya, if you're in Singapore, Mongolia, wherever you are, everyone knows the game rock paper scissors. I decided let's give it the Game of Thrones type of treatment. So there are actual each living kingdoms on a distant planet, and they live peacefully for centuries until Scissors finds out there's living paper and nearly commits genocide against them. The papers escape. They find these indestructible rocks with just one weakness, that they're claustrophobic. And then from there, the whole planet just gets caught into a war, and it just gets crazier, where there's anvil gods, there's glue armies, plastic, sand, and water, also empires as well. And I meant it to be crazy and manic, but also have reflections on what's actually happening in society as well.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And I'm going to actually pop up some of Hugh's artwork. And so, how did you even stumble across coming up with something like this?
Okay, so there's two parts to this story. The first part is back in 2012, I think it was. I was at a friend's house and a coworker, and his uncle came from Mongolia. And we kind of got into an argument about something. We decided to do rock, paper, scissors to solve the argument. He won, but then it dawned on me, and this was mine just being naive. I was like, how the hell do you know of this game? And he looked at me like, you idiot, how the hell do I not know of this game? Everyone knows rock, paper, scissors. And that was an awakening for me, that I had no idea that this simple hand game is that global. I knew Japan had a version of it, like Rochambeau. I knew certain, but it was a worldwide game. So I always had this idea of this game in my head. And then when Game of Thrones was like the hottest TV show on earth, and I just had the idea of like, what if we took Game of Thrones and made it into a paper, rock, scissors battle? Because my imagination makes no damn sense. I think of the craziest things. And the story just started to, once you start writing, I tell everyone who wants to be an aspiring writer, the hard part is beginning, but once you start, it just flows. And I just kept on writing and going and going. So in 2016, I came out the first version of it, and George Leon, a decorated retired Navy veteran from Washington State, a good buddy of mine, got to give him a shout out. He did the first issue for me for free. And actually, I think I have it in the book here. This is actually his artwork, very cartoony style, very simple. So that's George's. He just very simple cartoony style, but I appreciate it. He did the entire book for free for me. And then I had a cover by Daniel Wong, which is what sold the book. Let me just get to that one, because that cover, this cover right here,
right,
like that helped just sell the book. It was just absolutely a masterpiece.
The scissors are amazing.
I was able to sell the first 500 copies just on that. And then, funny enough, I can't remember which Comic-Con. I think it was Niagara Falls. I can't remember distinctly, but that's when I met Hugh. And so Hugh got a copy of it, the original book. He looked through it. He came back to my table and pretty much he's like, no. I like this book, but no. I'm your artist now. Like he was that sold on. He's like, I'm taking over this book now. And so we got to get to know each other and all that. And he took over rock, paper, scissors. And it's just, well, you showed the black and white artwork originally. We did the whole series, issues 1 to 4 in black and white. And then he came to me later and he's like, dude, we got to do this in color. We got to make it pop. And we agreed. And yeah, like it's just so dynamic, so beautiful, the artwork he does. And so we finished the whole thing. We did the graphic novel, and then Christopher Moore came on, a great artist from Montreal, and he's still doing all the covers. And with the trade paperback, we got like Marvel legends, like the Day brothers, David and Dan. You know, Mike Ruth did some art in here. Michael T. Gilbert, another incredible legend in the industry who I look to as a mentor, he chipped in. So I've been blessed that way. And I guess I got complacent because I wrapped up the story and did the whole thing and it was done. But then I looked at the world that we're going through right now and I just got inspired to start writing again. And because, yes, the war got wrapped up between all the elements, but then what happens after the war? What happens when these godly creatures force peace on you, but you have to be in peace with creatures that tried to kill you originally, tried to wipe you out? How does that work? The creatures that tried to wipe out everyone else, they don't just become all of a sudden pacifists. You know, what happens to that lust for taking over? What happens there? What happens when you meet your Messiah? You actually see these godly creatures. You now know they exist. Well, where do you go from there? So the ideas just started hitting me, and I just started writing. I talked to Hugh, I talked to Christopher, and they're like, "It's about damn time." And so we decided, okay, let's go forward with it. So I decided let's do a Kickstarter campaign. Hopefully that with the people, I know it's been a while for people who had the book and the original books, but hopefully have enough of fan base where people are like, okay, you're coming out with the next story arc called the Tincture Effect, and we're going to be interested in seeing where this goes.
Sweet. And I'm going to actually pull up the coming soon page for your Kickstarter. And so there it is. Paper, Rock, Scissors, and Stuff Wars. Number 5. So the Tincture Effect. So for those of us who are unfamiliar with tincture, what is the tincture effect?
Well, tincture is like, you could think of it like as a form of medicine. Like when you think of tincture and beverages and whatnot, and I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm hoping that when you go through the arc, you'll understand why I called it that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give up too much right now, but just think of it of the remedy of what's going on in this world. Now, and I want to clarify that what I'm doing originally when I was doing this Kickstarter, putting it together, and the tons of, we'll touch on that, the tons of work that goes into making these things. Originally, I was going to do it as a standalone issue, but I realized that for a lot of people who might back this, they would want the rest of the book to understand what's going on. So I decided number 5 is going to be part of the graphic novel. So I'm kind of doing a reverse where it's going to be the whole entire graphic novel. It's going to be issue 5 first, and then the rest of the book is 1 to 4. So you can get caught up, even though issue 5 will have a kind of a summary. But I actually kind of changed things up where it's not too deep of a summary because you're going to have the whole book with you anyways. But I want people to know that, okay, I understand the bigger picture, so you're getting everything together in one book. So every tier, you're getting the entire graphic novel of issue 1 to 5. So you get the whole picture in it.
That's cool. That's cool. And I've just put the link to the launch page on in our group chat. And so just check the comments and make sure you go check this out. I have, full disclosure, I have previous editions, and it's a hoot. It's a great read. And, you know, indie comics, got to support the indie creators. And Lou, he's like the hardest working man. I think you and Hugh are probably the 2 hardest working individuals I know on the circuit, because you guys are always at shows, always hustling, the big shows, the small shows. And I've seen you interact with everybody, and Hugh has a special ability too, where it's like people come to the table to talk to you. Like they just love talking to both you and Hugh.
You know, I respect what you and Vaughn and your whole community with Atrium and, you know, the guys you have together to put it. And sometimes I'm envious, as I do everything. You see me at shows, I do everything myself.
Yeah,
and it's tiring. So as we were talking to it before, that doing a Kickstarter is a full-time job. You have to put everything together. You have to finance all, like you're raising money, but there's a lot of money that goes into making this thing.
Yes.
You know, you got to figure out every nut and bolt of your campaign. You have to figure out, I do this all myself. On top of, I still work part-time as a truck driver. On top of, I still have my family, my wife and my daughter. And on top of that, I do conventions every single weekend. And I make 3D cardboard art, like the stuff that's behind me. And that takes time. Each piece takes an hour and a half to make. And I make about 30 to 40 of them per show, per week. So suffice it to say, I've never been to a bar or a movie theater in a quite some time. I'm lucky as hell that I have the most patient wife on earth. But through this journey, as you see, like Giancarlo Esposito, I got a commission from him to send some art to his house. I got to meet Danny Trejo. I got to meet so many celebrities. I've got to meet and get acquainted with so many like legends in the industry, from Todd McFarlane to Kevin Eastman to Stan Sakai, and it's been a great ride, but it is very tiring. It is extremely tiring, but I love what I do. Creativity, comic books, art, all of it. I live and breathe it. This is my life, and I would never give it up for anything.
And when you think about it, and there's Huey,
Yep.
your co-creator on this one, you have, with your amazing artwork, you're like a pop culture, not just enthusiast, but you're almost like a connoisseur of pop culture. And like, you've also met some of the giants from this genre. We're like, you've met Peter Weller, you've obviously met Giancarlo Esposito, you've met Danny Trejo. Like, the list goes on and on and on, because you make stuff that not only resonates with people who love the movies and the art, but also the people that were in those films themselves.
Yeah. Whenever I go to shows, and I will give this free advice to anyone watching and listening, I don't mind giving this whatsoever. I figured out years ago, and it's actually through Neil Adams, rest his soul. I'm so glad I got to meet him and get to know him, and he actually knew who I was. I was so honored that whenever we go to a show, we overlapped at shows so many times that he got to know me, and I got to sit with him before he passed. His last show that he did in Canada, that I got to just sit and chill with the man, and it was such an honor that he invited me. And I made a piece for him. And Ernie Hudson, he was the first celebrity I made a piece for. And both of them were so humbled by the fact that I would just take my time and just make something to give to them. And they both offered to sign the things for free. And I was like, no, this is a thank you to you for the entertainment and all the things you've done that is part of my childhood and growing up. And so what I started to do is, every convention I go to, I make a piece for the celebrity that I look up to or that I appreciate. And, pretty much every celebrity I've given something to, they've been always responsive to it. Like Robert Englund, with Freddy Krueger, I came to him, and I got to thank my wife for this. I made a piece. I just don't make a piece based on the most popular characters. So with Robert Englund, everyone knows him as Freddy Krueger. I also did him as, I think the character was Willie from V. And my wife brought up that he had a Phantom of the Opera movie. I did not know that. So I put that character in there. So when I presented it to him, his eyes went straight to that. He's like, this is the first time someone's brought the Phantom of the Opera to me. And he was going to sign it for free for me. They always do. And I was like, no. This is my gift to you, man. And we started joking around, because I told him about how I think it was Dream Warriors. I couldn't sleep after watching that for the first time. And he was happy about that. And he was looking at it, he's like, this is going in my den. And so when later on, when I saw, that was at Niagara Falls Comic Con, when I saw him at Ottawa Comic Con, he remembered me right away. He's like, when I walked by, he's like, you're the guy who made me that cardboard thing. And we started talking. So that was great. Danny Trejo left his table at his booth to come to my booth to get the piece I made for him.
Nice.
And he is just the most lovely human being you'll ever meet in your life. And then with Giancarlo, again, we met at Ottawa Comic Con, and he liked the piece I made for a fan. He told the fan to come and get me to bring to him, because he wanted to understand what the hell this thing is. And he's like, I want one. And so he commissioned me on the spot, and I got to mail it to his house.
That's great.
So, and a cool aside, putting both my worlds together with the cardboard art and the comic book is that I've gotten to know Allison Court, who many of you know, the big comfy couch, the voice of Jubilee in the X-Men cartoons, the voice of Lydia and Beetlejuice. We've gotten to know each other very well. And so when I told her I'm doing this rock, paper, scissors, I asked her an out of the blue question, like, would you want to be on a comic book cover? Because I'm sure you're aware of, was it Doctor Strange from the 90s? I think it's number 15, 13, 14, 15. They did the Amy Grant cover.
That's right.
Or 16. I know it's one of the early issues, but they did the Amy Grant cover. A very controversial cover because they didn't ask for her permission, but they just used a picture of Amy Grant to put it on the cover. And it just popped into my mind, like, what if I put Allison Court on my cover? And she jumped at it. And so I wish I had a picture to send you, but in my campaign, we agreed we're going to make 100 copies, and there's an option for her to sign them with a certificate of authenticity, and it's going to be Allison Court versus the Scissors Queen as a special edition cover.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And so, how does it feel like now you're on 5? Like, because the journey to make 1 for anyone who hasn't started yet is pretty massive. It's pretty huge, and we have a lot of indie creators that come on this live stream, and it's always interesting getting their takes on like when you go from the kernel of the idea, to then getting your team together, or if you're doing it as a solo thing, getting it all done, and then getting it out there, and then you get the first one out there, and then going from that, because there's always pitfalls along the way. And it's not an easy road to go from nothing to 1. It's even harder to go from 1 to 5.
Yeah. You know, as you said, because we're all part of the same community, we know many of the similar people. It is a journey. And there's times where I look, like I always keep one copy of my trade, sell all the rest, but I just keep one. And I look at it, and I'm not saying this as a form of hubris or anything like that, but I look at it as like, I can't believe I did this. Like, I have a complete story, and it's done, and it's here, and people can read it, and you hear back from people, and they enjoy it. And I was like, you're kind of kicking yourself that I did this. And then I was able to meet an artist who could help me get here. And that artist still loves doing this. Like, shout out to Arnold, and Mr. Trinidad.
Arnold Trinidad, absolutely.
You know, I asked him for a cover and like how much you want. He's like, Lou, don't ask me how much. I'm going to give you a cover. And his famous Manila drip style, because he loves the book. So it's like, I'm adding into this. I got a guy, Anthony, Ambitious Anthony, who's also now blowing up in the Con scene. He jumped in with some artwork. And, it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a loner type. I am who I am. I'm a very quiet to myself type of dude. And to be able to have this connection of people where you could reach out to them and say, hey, even the Day brothers, David and Dan Day, who worked on Uncanny X-Men, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all these books, these legends. And Dan sent me an X-Men homage, Star Wars homage cover that I'm going to use. And then David gave me a Sherlock Holmes piece that he did. And then I put the paper character in it. And he's like, go ahead, knock yourself out. And so it's a blessing to just be able to have this community and, just be able to still create comic books. But, we still have to use Kickstarter and those means because we're just regular guys with mortgages and bills to pay and families to take care of. So It's an uphill battle. But when you have a successful campaign, when you have both colleagues and strangers jump on board and help you reach that finish line to get your book done, it is always a humbling experience. And you make sure it's your obsession to come up with the very best product you can to ensure that you're going to get your money's worth. And so I took too long of a hiatus. The cardboard art thing, it's been my bread and butter for the longest time, but I miss writing, I miss creating, and I see a whole now universe of rock paper scissors, and I wanted to follow the paths of Spawn, of Service, of those independent books that just kept on going, and maybe one day have Paper Rock Scissors and Stuff Wars number 100.
Yes.
To reach that kind of pinnacle, how amazing that would feel and be. And so, yeah, that's, and I know you would love the same thing, to see Atrium and your books just keep on going and growing that fan base, and, seeing what can be done next with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's you can never tell what the audience is gonna like.
Yeah.
But there's that part where it's like when you do something and and it resonates, then you have that urge to just want to tell more and more and more. Like even if it doesn't resonate, there's still that thing where you're like, well, I like the story because like the themes in it or whatever appeal to me. So you want to tell that story, and it's even more rewarding. Let's just use that word.
Yeah.
When what you like in your creation is something that other people enjoy as well too.
Yeah. But
And
even as a
gotta keep
writer,
going.
you could pivot too. So
Oh
I
yeah.
actually had some people tell me, like, of the new kingdoms in the book, there's sand and water.
Mhm.
I just touch on them lightly in the book because I want to concentrate on the main conflict. So I felt it felt so nice to have people message me like, so what's going on with sand and water? And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Thank you. Okay. I
Right.
need to touch on them more and, expand this universe that I've created.
Mhm.
And, you also, like, I always ask people for feedback, the good and bad. I actually want to hear what people think, because yes, I have an idea where the story is going to go. But if people like, what, this should be fleshed out more, I have no problem with that, because, okay, that is something I can do
Mhm.
and give more context to this. And I think one of the problems that happens with, especially with the bigger companies, is that they start going in a direction and they just can't stop. It's like a locomotive. Even though it's going off track, they just can't slow it down. With us indies, we have to earn every single dollar. You can't take it for granted. So if you get feedback and it's like, okay, this isn't working well, okay, I can do something with that. And I could move in a different direction, but still keep my vision going.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too sometimes when you're a creator, you can be in a bubble
Yeah.
sometimes. And the beauty of the shows is that's like when you're, sending out messages or it's on social media, it's one thing. But when you have someone who has read your book or likes the pitch and they're in front of you at a show, that's kind of like the instant feedback that really kind of lets you know either you got it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I do my elevator pitch, you were there beside me when I was doing my elevator pitch in Hamilton. And one of the things that selling in itself, Comic-Con selling at Comic-Cons, it's an art form in itself to get people through it. And I've got, for each one of my books, each one I have an elevator pitch. And when I see people start laughing at the absurdity of rock, paper, scissors, I love it, because now I have your attention. I don't take my book seriously. I do not insist upon myself. There's serious undertones in the book, but I still take it for what it is. It's inanimate objects brought to life as anthropomorphic characters caught in a planetary war. It is ridiculous. I want it to be ridiculous. One of the greatest compliments I have received is someone telling me this is Aqua Teen Hunger Force weird.
Amazing.
That was
a great compliment.
a guy at Ottawa Comic-Con told me that, and it is the greatest compliment I ever received. And I actually did try to pitch it to Adult Swim, and I actually got through to them, but I don't have an agent, so I didn't stand a chance in hell.
Right.
But the fact that someone read this and they're like, it is unique, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, is really out there, it's bizarre, and they enjoyed how bizarre it is, that, that's what I was hoping for.
No, and I think you succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each one of our books goes in a different, like, your book is more serious. Mine is more weird and crazy.
Which is
But,
fine.
we're still following our vision forward.
It's stories, man. It's all about stories. And it's like, we were looking at Rivalries and we had to extend it outside of comics.
Yeah.
Right? Because like comics is like it's one lane, but then you have like manga, anime, you've got you know, the Warner Brothers cartoons, you've got the Disney cartoons, right? You got the TV series. Like there's so many different things. And like we're not even talking like TV shows,
Yeah.
right? Like it's all part of this incredible like quilt.
Yeah.
And there's these little patches that we all love that are just sewn together. And everyone's quilt's different because you might be a Star Trek person and a Star Wars person, and you love, you know, the Neverending Story or K-pop Demon Hunters, and that makes up your quilt, right?
Yeah.
Or it's something that your kids like, and you realize, hey, that's actually pretty good. Like my kid loved Fairy Tale. I used to watch Fairy Tale with her all the time, and I like. Let me tell you, man, Gray.
No. I'm not even criticizing.
I
I'm
know.
laughing because my daughter makes fun of the fact that my two favorite anime, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
Oh, beautiful,
and Fairy Tale.
Fairy Tale.
I
man.
love Fairy Tale with a passion. And so my kid makes fun of me about that all the time. That of all anime, that's the one you love. But
yeah. Yeah, Olivia used to be like, Dad, you got to watch this. You got to watch this episode. And then I'd watch the episode and we talk about it. And it was just like, she had her favorite characters.
Yeah.
Right. And Gray was my guy. Like, I love
We're on the same page, Gray. There's times where just to annoy my kid, I'll walk into the room with a shirt on, and then I'll walk out with no shirt. And it's like, Dad, put your shirt on. You're not Gray. Stop it.
Oh, yeah. Too good.
But I think one of the benefits, like, and this might sound so shallow to our generation, but I think a Gen X childhood, just the way we grew up being raised by cartoons. Yeah. Saturday morning, the religion of it. And, you know, my favorite year, I got into a conversation with friends, and we got into this weird conversation about our favorite year. Okay. My favorite year was 86.
Ooh, okay.
It was the smorgasbord of cartoons. That's when my favorite cartoon, Silverhawks, came out. But it was there, Centurions and Humans, Silver, like it was everything all at once. It was to the point that I had that push button remote.
The remote, yes, man.
The buttons got so crushed because I was jumping from cartoon to cartoon. Mm-hmm. And then you do what? You go outside and you play. And we play G.I. Joe and all these things. And so that creativity was always there from when I was a kid. The first comic book I ever had was Silver Surfer #4.
Wow.
Just to give some context about me, I wasn't a reader as a kid. Right. Was not into books at all. And then as a Hail Mary, my father bought a comic book, Silver Surfer #4. Put that thing in my hands, and I became a reader instantly. A dude on a surfboard in space fighting aliens. Come on.
Hey, can't go wrong.
And then a few years later, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out. And that was just like a mind blown, like, what the hell is this? Mm-hmm. And then the idea of publishing comic books came with a lot of the indies that were out at that time as well, that you realize, oh, there's, like, as you said, Grendel. Yeah. And when I got Reed Fleming, this weird book about a kick-ass milkman, all the Flaming Carrot was a huge inspiration.
Flaming Carrot, yes.
And the Mystery Man and the Mask. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you discover this universe, and like that. I think that is the beauty of comic books, that there's no limit. I think with Hollywood, there's a limit to what you can do just based on your budget. With comic books, there's no such thing as a limit. You could do whatever the hell you want.
Your imagination and whatever the artist can come up with.
Yeah. And I'm blessed to have Hugh. Like, having Hugh as my artist is just an absolute blessing. That it's not that he just, I pay him, he does the book, is that he loves the book. Yeah. He's one of the biggest cheerleaders of the book. And, like, that is an amazing feeling in itself, that I have someone who loves what they do. Christopher with the covers, he loves doing this. So I'm glad that I'm on the right path, or at least the people involved in the book are like, okay, we're part of this too. We like this idea.
Yeah, a happy team. You know, you're more apt to be able to produce something that is going to go maybe punch above its weight, right? Because if you're doing something and there's any kind of a drag on the creative process or how you're interacting, that's going to affect the end result.
Yeah.
And the end product. So when everything's kind of a well-oiled machine, it also allows you to kind of like ask questions or push in areas narratively or artistically that you might not have thought of or even considered as a possibility. And if people are open to it or are open to giving those ideas, then you get back stuff that's even richer.
Exactly. Amen to that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to wrap it up with the first look at a comic book that's coming out that's going to actually be a prequel to an upcoming 20th Century Fox film, part of a huge franchise, part of the Predator Aliens franchise. And so Predator Badlands is coming out. And Ethan Sachs, who does a lot of Star Wars stuff for Marvel, is going to be writing it. And he's actually doing it in conjunction with, I think it's Dan Trachtenberg, who worked on the film. So I'm just going to pull this up so everyone can take a look at it, because I think it was Marvel that came up with they sent us a sneak peek at it. So get a first look at Predator Badlands #1, the official prequel comic to the new film. And I always think that these are great ideas for, for the studio. It allows you to tell the story that you don't want to necessarily put in the film for budgetary reasons. And it also then gets readers or potential viewers, right? It gets I guess almost like a cross-pollination of an audience interested in your IP.
Well, Marvel has mastered this. Is it through Marvel?
Yeah, because I think Fox and Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make sure. Skip to the end. Yep. From Marvel.
Marvel's been a master of this, because going back again to our childhood, they did the same thing with Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
They did the comic books that expanded the universe and like really got people like tied in with the cartoons, so you kind of get a better understanding of the characters and the greater universe that the movie or the TV series can't really expand upon. So I think this is brilliant. They're just doing the same thing that they've done for decades.
Yeah, because they had Marvel employees like Larry Hama working on stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then basically building the world. They were world builders.
Yeah, exactly. And they complemented each other.
Oh, absolutely. So just here it says Predator Badlands #1 by Ethan Sachs and Alvin Ching, a comic prelude to the upcoming Predator Badlands film made in collaboration with Dan Trachtenberg. Hit stands on November 12th. So that's roughly in about a month. So it says Predator Badlands, the thrilling new entry in the Predator film franchise, arrives in theaters on November 7th. That same week, Marvel Comics will publish Predator Badlands #1, a tie-in comic by writer Ethan Sachs, known for his stellar work on Marvel Star Wars titles, and in his Marvel Comics debut, artist Alvin Ching, a promising recent participant of Marvel's Art Atelier program. Well, that's pretty cool. That this is, I guess, one of their proteges.
Yeah.
Serving as the official protege to the highly anticipated film, the one-shot is being produced in close collaboration with director Dan Trachtenberg, who will also write a foreword for the issue. That's pretty cool. So here we have a cover. I think this is by Cafu. I could be right. Yeah, this is Cafu's cover. It says here in the one-shot, a young Yetcha warrior named Dek is given a seemingly simple task by his father: retrieve a piece of technology from a derelict spaceship that crashed years ago. Inside, however, an ancient and deadly threat lies in wait. So it should be pretty interesting, and to give you a little bit of backstory on the character that you're going to run into in the flick. And let's see if we can get some of the. So I think that's cover A.
Mm-hmm.
And there's cover B by Cafu. It's a cool image. And then the interior art is stunning.
Yes, good. That's beautiful.
Yeah, with the colors and everything. This one I think is going to be on my list.
I have to admit, I have to get caught up on, because I haven't seen Prey yet. The last Predator movie I watched was Predators.
Right.
With Lawrence Fishburne and Topher Grace and all that. And it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. But I know there's a lot more in the lore I have to get caught up on.
So if you haven't seen Prey's quite good.
Yeah. Because I know that's supposed to be the first one to start off everything before of course, the classic of classics with Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the furthest back they go in human history.
Yeah.
In any of the films. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but this looks great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that cover. That one
Mhm.
really, it's simple yet beautiful.
Yeah. Compositionally, tonally, it's perfect. It's really well done. Well, Lou, what can we expect from you moving forward? Like, it's the end of the year almost. We've got, I guess 2.5 months left.
Yeah.
On the convention scene, I know you and Hugh are going to be in Collingwood. Is that the
Yeah,
next?
we're next, not this weekend, but next weekend. First time, well, he's going to be a feature at Pop Culture Canada's Collingwood Comic Con and then Bolton Comic Con.
Nice.
Because he also did a Pop Culture Canada exclusive IDW cover for Street Sharks #1.
Sweet. Nice.
They're bringing back Street Sharks, so he did that cover. But it's like, yeah, he wanted to come down, so it's a great opportunity for us to plug Rock Paper Scissors, the Kickstarter campaign, and sell signed copies of Street Sharks #1. So we're looking forward to that. I do Frightmare in the Falls, which is actually my biggest show of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So I make my 3D cardboard art based on horror. And I also have my book, Dalflo, A Serial Worth Killing For, which is my other comic book based on a killer breakfast cereal mascot. And then from there, just to show how crazy it is, I'm doing Forest City in London. Then I'm going to HalCon in Halifax. And then I'm contemplating doing Grand Rapids in Michigan, which would be my first U.S. show of the year. Usually by this time this year, I would usually have about 5 U.S. shows already done. This would be my first of the year, but I'm still on the fence. But and then I have Pop Culture Canada shows for the rest of the year leading to this December. So
right,
and then some Christmas, and then we'll see what 2026 has in store.
Sweet.
What about for you?
We're going to be at Frightmare. I think
Yeah.
that's our next one, and I think it's in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
So we're gonna be hitting that one, and I think that's our last. I think maybe Vaughn and Peter, the co-writer Peter, might be going to one. I think there's a Mississauga show, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And then I think that's pretty much it for us. And then we'll be doing, we'll be doing stuff in 2026. But it's been a lot of hotels and a lot of different towns this year. We've had a great time being on the circuit. Had a great time meeting everyone and chatting Atrium and comics and pop culture and stuff. But it was remarking to a friend of mine, I can't believe that we're halfway through October. Like next week is the middle of October. And I don't know where this year's gone.
As you get older, time seems to go faster. Like when you're a kid, it's fast, then it slows down. And then when you get older, it goes fast again.
Yeah.
So like, I remember my daughter talking about Christmas in January. It's like, hon, that's a year away. Now Christmas is just around the corner. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I might have to start looking for some gifts before, because you're gonna blink twice and it's like, uh-oh.
I know a great book. I know a great book that makes a great Christmas gift.
There you go. There you go. You heard it here first, second, and third, everyone. Absolutely. Well, Lou, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast and live stream. It's always great chatting with you, and it's good that we had some time to kind of sit around and kind of chop it up.
You like, your viewers don't know. You've asked me, like, you brought it up to me so many different times, and with our crazy schedules, it's hard to do it. But like, I'm glad I finally came on. I always love just being able to nerd out and just talk about comic books, pop culture, all that good stuff. Like, this is the stuff that makes life exciting and worth living.
Absolutely. So anyone that tuned in, basically, you just caught a glimpse of what we talk about before cons, breaks it during the con, and then after the con. It's all good. So everyone, please remember to check out the link for Rock, Paper, Scissors and stuff. That way you will be able to get alerted to when it launches, because it's in pre-launch phase right now.
Yeah, October 11th. Not this Saturday, but actually this. See, as you said, how fast October is. October 11th, this Saturday.
Couple of days. So make sure that you head on over to the Kickstarter, back the campaign, and let's see issue number 5 or edition number 5 become a reality. All right,
Beautiful.
everyone, thanks for coming in. Vaughn, thanks for joining us. Everyone who was in the chat, want to thank you for all of that. And keep it indie, and see you soon.
Take care. Thanks.